Welcome to the Create Your Happy podcast, where the mission is to empower women in their journey of self-discovery. Here we explore how to fully embrace our humanness, find our unique voice, and understand that through unconditional love and conscious relationships, we have the power to change the world. I'm your host, Christy Holt, your one and only happiness hussy, adventure guide, and conscious funpreneur. I'm on a heartfelt mission to change the world one beautiful soul at a time. Are you ready to elevate your relationships to the next level? I've got you. It's time for a messy fucking beautiful adventure. It's time to create your happy. Hello, gorgeous humans. Welcome back for another episode of the Create Your Happy podcast. I'm your host, Christy Holt, and I'll be guiding you through this messy fucking beautiful adventure that we call life. Today, we're going to be busting another relationship myth wide open. And this one is the idea that relationships should be 50-50. Trust me, you're gonna wanna hear this. So where did this 50-50 myth even come from anyways? I mean, probably from movies and TV, society in general, but you know what? Even some of our most well-intentioned friends and family have been feeding into this idea as well. Now let me tell you, not only does this approach not really work, but it's also setting us up for massive amounts of failure and disappointment. Here's a truth bomb. Relationships are not static. They're actually dynamic. Sometimes we're able to give 60-40, and sometimes that split is more like 30-70. And guess what? It's all perfectly okay. Now, what matters is actually the balance over time, not in each and every moment. Not even in a single day or week, but over the longer haul. Now, in my own life, letting go of this idea of 50-50 was incredibly liberating. It actually allowed me to connect more authentically with my partner. We stopped scorekeeping and we started focusing on how we could actually support each other day in and day out. And for example, when I realized that I have been focusing on giving and receiving, I noticed that the love and support that I was offering up actually came back to me tenfold. It was like a boomerang effect. What I gave out, I got back, but often an even greater measure. And on those days when I just couldn't give very much, my partner picked up the slack. And there was no guilt trip, and I didn't guilt trip myself. It created this sense of freedom to be the best version of me without all that guilt and shame piled on top, and this idea of still not being good enough. And this idea of not being good enough is one of the big problems with keeping score. And speaking of keeping score, let's just talk here briefly about why that's a big no-no. And mostly I want to share that it often leads to resentment, and it actually takes away from those genuine acts of love and kindness that make a relationship really special. Let's be real here. Scorekeeping leads to a loss of relationship. It is a game where nobody wins. Now, holding on to this 50-50 myth can actually lead to codependency as well, because when you're looking for someone else to fill in your missing parts, you're always going to end up coming up short, because quite frankly, that's not someone anyone else can do for you. The goal here is for you to be a whole person, all on your own, outside of any relationships with other people. And that's where self-reliance comes in. Now, instead of dividing everything 50-50, let's flip this around. Let's shift our mindset. Now, think about how each person may contribute to the relationship in their own unique way. Now, it's not about division, it's about contribution. It's not about receiving and dividing things up. It's about giving and what we can put into it. Now, clear communication and acceptance are key ingredients here, because both of those allow for your relationship to be both dynamic and evolving as humans are, but they also create a supportive space from which unconditional love can arise. Sidebar, this unconditional love will actually arise in you first. So Stop looking to your partner and start looking at your own stuff. What's coming up in your mind? Simply observe it without getting too attached to it. Remember, you're not your mind, you're not your thoughts, you're not your emotions. You are the observer of all of them. So witness. What do you see? What are they telling you? And instead of resisting, allow them to flow through. Instead of arguing with your mind, instead of arguing with the reality of what is, instead surrender and allow those things and yourself just to both be there, watching these thoughts and emotions float by like a cloud in the sky. Essentially, be the sky. Simply notice what is coming up. Now, most often, we don't even need to do anything with these thoughts, maybe not even with our emotions. Oftentimes, all we need to do is simply witness them and allow them to go on. Just let them go. But if you're anything like me, you may have spent years and years building your identity around the thoughts in your mind and the emotions that you've experienced. All of those stories, those experiences, you may have taken them on as your identity. And if you have done that, you'll want to start to shift those patterns, and it's going to take a little bit of intentional effort. So one of the things that I recommend if you're looking to practice this new role of the witness, because while it is our natural state to be full of peace and wit and, health and happiness, wellness and joy, we have often learned to cling to and resist those external experiences, and it has kept a lot of those preferences, our opinions, our preferences, our desires stuck in our body and our mind. So clearing this space out is like a really good spring cleaning, and it creates more space for intentional creation. This way, now you can choose your response rather than simply reacting to what's coming up. You get to choose how you wish to create the healthy and happy relationships that you desire and deserve. And you do this by choosing how you show up. So here is your challenge for this week. Stop keeping score. Now that might sound intimidating, and it might not. But what I want you to essentially do here is to do something kind for someone else, your partner, your husband, your friend, your child, without expecting anything in return. And by anything, I mean don't even expect a positive response or a thank you or anything. Simply give for the experience of giving. And then notice how it feels in you. Now, if you happen to notice yourself wrapped up in thinking about scorekeeping at any point while you're practicing this new habit, just gently remind yourself that you're practicing so that you can start to shift out of those autopilot habits and patterns and shift into creating the relationship in which you are experiencing this connection that you seek. So try this one on, give it a go, see if you can create some of these win-win solutions instead of scorekeeping. Give yourself grace, give your partner grace, give all of those around you a little extra dose of grace, and see if you can't find the joy in the giving. If you're looking for some additional support in your adventure of creating healthy and happy relationships, you might wish to consider some one-to-one mentorship. You could also check out my new relationship mini course, Love Reimagined, if you're looking to get a jump start. Now, trust me, when it comes to shifting our habits and our patterns and creating new experiences, even a small amount of guidance can go a really long way. You can check the show notes for those resources and more. And stay tuned for some more myth-busting episodes coming up, including the dangerous myth that love conquers all. We're going to be busting that one out on next week's episode. Now, all right, beautiful souls, that wraps up today's episode. I love you all. Now let's go embrace our messy fucking beautiful lives and do some epic shit, shall we? Are you feeling stuck in your relationship? What if I told you the key to a happier, more fulfilling relationship starts not with them, but with you? Introducing Love Reimagined, a transformative mini course designed to revitalize your relationships from the inside out. Unlock practical tools that empower you to make meaningful changes from within. Ready to reimagine love? Join me now and take the first step toward relationship bliss. Thank you so much for listening to today's show. I trust you were inspired to take back your power and create your happy. If you enjoyed this episode, I would love to hear from you. Please subscribe, leave a review, and share the show with the women in your life who could use a little more inspiration today. If you'd like to connect or explore the additional resources mentioned in this episode, you can find those details and links in the show notes below. As always, get out there, have fun, be you, and create your happy.